I've played Minecraft for far too long. It's a simple fact that I've come to accept in my life. I have invested a lot of time into this game and I've played it over a large number of years, but that does mean that I have a lot of history saved in my Minecraft worlds. For example, those of you with very keen eyes may notice that this isn't actually my usual redstone testing world. This is my original redstone testing world, the redstone testing world that I had before I have my current redstone testing world. And as you can probably tell from the gradually degenerating sandstone chunks on the outside of this thing, it's quite old. The reason that it's like this is because this world was generated before the sandstone testing world was actually introduced into the game, and I used a mod to generate this sandstone flatland right here. So it means that actually this is a grass world with just a massive block of sandstone on top of it. And this build right here was the first redstone build that I constructed in this world, and I believe it still works, or at least one half of it still works. Yeah, this is my original 2x2 seamless glass piston door, and it was an incredibly popular video at the time. And as you can see, it is humongous, absolutely massive. Anyway, today's video is not going to be dedicated to just looking at old redstone builds. What I'm hoping to do is take some ideas from this redstone testing world and actually rebuild them in 2020 with all of the new mechanics that we can play with and hopefully make them considerably better. It has been ages since I've seen pistons that look like this. Man, that has been a while. This used to happen all the time. If you powered pistons in a certain way, they would put arms through each other and then they would totally break themselves. I wonder what happens. Yet they are still broken. So this right here is a real blast from the past for me because I can remember recording this video like it was yesterday. I remember building up the room. I remember doing the structure. I remember I wanted to make this build look cooler because I was really proud of it. Essentially, it was a little crafting bench swapper that swap blocks upwards and out of the wall. Oh, and in case you hadn't noticed, it's totally broken right now. It is also absolutely massive. I mean, this thing is 3 blocks wide. There's all sorts of pistons that I can't quite understand what they're doing. We've got a lot of things going on here. So let's try our best to make it a lot smaller. Now, I think this could actually be incredibly simple to get right. So much so that I'm going to try my best to build the entire thing on camera. Should we see what happens here? I mean, I just need this. And then that. Maybe. I'm not sure. So. Almost. What's annoying me is I still feel like I can build it within that footprint, which may potentially be impossible. But building it ever so slightly taller has allowed it to work. And I feel quite proud of myself on this one. I mean, we've got a lot of observers involved in this thing, but this is probably about a quarter of the size of the original build. With that being said, that's probably not too impressive, given that the original was constructed in about 2012. Right, let's get back to some designing work here, and I have just spotted a style of redstone contraption that I don't think exists anymore. I haven't seen anyone create anything like this in ages. So this was kind of a trend in the redstone community for a little while, and that is button panels. So this is a 3x3 button panel, and the idea is that each one of these buttons right here had to be connected to an independent redstone lamp. So clearly this system has actually stopped working, I guess due to the changes in the way that pistons get powered. But these were I mean, I spent a lot of time working on some hilarious button panels. I wonder if I can find some. There's got to be more lying around. Yes, look at this thing. I think this is this just a tiled version of the one that I did over there? I'm not quite sure. Either way, look at the size of this thing. Right, so the thing that was always challenging about these is that you need to make sure that obviously none of the lines actually interact with one another, but also you need to make sure that it's tileable so they don't interact with each other in this direction or also the vertical direction. And now that I think about it, none of the modern technologies are actually going to help us too much here. I mean, having said that, I think observers will definitely come in handy because we can now make considerably smaller T flip-flops. So the top level is okay. The middle level is where things get tricky, but I guess I could just, if I was to just run a repeater out into something like this. Ooh, okay. I genuinely spent about 45 minutes on this, but it's not the most exciting redstone contraption, so I skipped all of it. This is what I've ended up with for my button panel. I got super geeky with the redstone. I tried my best to keep it ridiculously compact, and I ended up with something that is just mildly compact because I couldn't quite manage to get it as small as I wanted it to be. I really wanted it to just be one block shorter, but I whatever I did, I just couldn't manage to pull it off. Wow, even back in the old days, I definitely was not lighting up my builds. I mean, this is ridiculous. But I think this is also quite an interesting redstone contraption in that, is this a flush? I think this is a flush with the wall piston feed tape. Yeah, this is a flush with the wall piston feed tape combination lock, or is it just for decoration? It looks like it might just be for decoration. All right, well, let's see if we can turn it into a combination lock, because that was definitely my favorite thing to build back then. I mean, if you just look at all the big builds around here, that's a combination lock, that's a combination lock, that's a combination lock. This right here, I think, is my first ever color combination lock. That's a combination lock. I mean, the list goes on. And what's really weird is I can remember building every single one of them like it was yesterday. I can't remember all the details, but the actual structure itself just triggers vivid memories. Okay, so let's think this through. Right, so I've got a system where I need to first off retract this block, because this is going to be a flush with the wall piston door. So that's step number one. That seems simple. Then the whole piston feed tape needs to fire, and then this piston needs to re-extend. So now I just need to connect up all of the pistons. And when I said piston door, I meant combination lock. It's been a long day. And this is all easier said than done, I have to say. So I've hooked up the top section. The issue is that I've added an extra thing that I want it to be, which is tileable. I want to be able to put these things directly next to one another to keep them super, super compact. And that, understandably, makes things a tiny bit more challenging, but I still definitely feel like it's within the realms of possibility, and it is working really quite well so far. So this is basically the redstone circuit, and it is tightly compact. All we have to do now is we need to place all the glass on this side, because this side here is the one that is actually going to be controlling the combination lock. So this is what is saving the position, as it were. This is what's saving the actual combination itself. And that is it. There are not many air blocks in this thing, especially when we start putting them next to one another. I mean, just look at this. This is a proper redstone contraption, isn't it? I love it when redstone contraptions look like this. Like, they're just so tight-knit. Just like they've been squashed in. You can't see through them. It's fantastic. Let's hope that it actually works. It does. I suddenly realised I hadn't actually tested it yet. But this is a pretty sweet redstone build. Flush with the wall. Colour combination lock. That looks rather lovely. Clearly there are actually some quite cool ideas in my old redstone testing worlds. Right, let's keep looking through. This looks mildly interesting. I definitely recognise this little circuit. I wonder if this still works in Minecraft 1.14 and 15. Yes. Yes, it does. I mean, we have to be able to go much smaller than this, surely. And you know what's cool? I actually think this could be incredibly simple. I know I've already said that once in this video, and it turns out it really wasn't. But if I hit the button here... I mean, we had a second extension, but that's not a problem because we have immovable objects. The only issue is you are going to hear droppers all the way across the machine, which might be worse than it being slightly bigger. But my goal for this one was to make it more compact, and more compact I shall make it, even if it's at the expense of my eardrums. And 3, 2, 1... What? Why is it that all of a sudden none of the pistons are firing? They were definitely firing a second ago. Or am I going completely bonkers? I swear they were firing. Right, well now that has me very confused. Except it does kind of make sense because the droppers are actually being bud powered by these blocks right here, which means the next time that we sent a redstone signal through it, it still thought it was powered. Then when we updated it with these repeaters and powering it again, it didn't cause an update through the observer because the dropper already thought it was powered. It is a little bit strange, but thankfully it can be fixed, making use of redstone lamps, which can't be bud powered. However, now I've run into a problem where actually these 1-tick pulses that should, in theory, push me along, don't actually push me along. And I've tried my best, I've slowed it down, and still it doesn't work. So that means that I haven't actually been able to improve the old design. If I was to build it in these days, I'd probably build it in the same way that I did the one in the original Redstone testing world. That is incredibly embarrassing, because that design is 8 years old, and I've tried to beat it, and I haven't been able to beat it. Okay, well, how about this? All right, there is a very big build in this world, this one right here, which I definitely think I can do some improving on. This is a 3x3 seamless glass piston door, and it is pretty massive, very old school. You can see all of the fence gates in there, tons upon tons of pistons, and I definitely think that we can make some improvements, probably making use of some of the new slime block and honey block mechanics. Okay, so here's my plan. Down at the bottom, we're going to have a triple piston extender that will push all of the glass blocks upwards, and then we'll have a triple piston extender up at the top, which is a little bit smarter, that is going to push all of the glass downwards. Now, obviously, those pistons, they are actually, I mean, the sticky pistons, they're going to be about there. So I'm going to have to do some interesting powering here, but it shouldn't actually be that difficult, he says, with a lot of hope in his voice. It's been a while since I've done any complicated redstone. And thanks to block creation on YouTube, I actually haven't had to do too much, because, well, he has designed a fairly incredible triple piston extender circuit that I am very, very impressed by. I copied it block for block. So there is none of my redstone circuitry in this top section here. But look how smart this is. Seriously. And his tutorial is fantastic. So I'll put a link to that down in the description. You should check it out if you need a flush and also expandable triple piston extender that is incredibly compact. Alright, we're getting there. We're getting there. We have a lot of the system in place. So there is the opening system, and then here we have the closing system. One thing that we do have to do is we need to now make this thing seamless. So first off, I need to create a block swapper, which is going to hide away all of this redstone here. That shouldn't hopefully be too difficult. And then also, I need to make a system which is going to push a block up here so that we hide away all of that gap so everything is fully seamless. Which, by the way, for anyone confused, seamless means completely no visible redstone. And I think I've just about managed to pull it off after a few headaches and a few confusions. And I have to say, although it isn't the smallest redstone build I've ever constructed, it is considerably smaller than the original seamless glass piston door that was created in my redstone testing world, that I have to say was pretty massive. So if we take a look here, here is the closing. We have got a lovely slab of glass there, no visible pistons or anything like that. And then when we flick the lever once again, everything opens up. Now, I have to say, it's not the fastest thing in the world, but it all works pretty nicely, doesn't it? So there we go. I would say that just about wraps things up for today. That is all of the things that I want to recreate from my previous redstone testing world. However, if you have enjoyed this little video, then please let me know down in the comment section and I might consider doing more of them. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya. This video has hit me like a wave of nostalgia. As I say, I can remember building a lot of these things like it was yesterday. I mean, how old would I have been? So, 2012, that's 8 years ago now. I would have been 16? 16 years old. I still would have been at school. I would have been building these in my spare time. That's a completely different world.